Hey, everybody, it's Paula.
And John.
And welcome to our July summer series called School is Out.
For parents.
And for summer. And as we learned last week, that's Alice Cooper. John, thank you for your musical prowess and knowledge. I can always count on you. So we are recapping some of our favorite moments and some of our favorite episodes from seasons 1 and 2. And this week, we are going back to our episode with Whoopi Goldberg, who has become a dear friend of mine. But John, you can attest that it wasn't always like that.
Yeah, you guys have always had a very unique relationship, and I think there's a lot of similarities and a lot of differences. Yeah. What I respected about the relationship is you guys have always found common ground.
Yeah. And we had to work through that. And if you want to listen to the entire episode, you can go back and do that. And we talk about how we've been able to be dear friends without agreeing on a whole lot and just really basing that friendship on respect for one another, despite our differences. But in this recap, this moment that we're bringing back to you, she talks about being a single mom and being on welfare. And John, she had some crazy jobs. She was a bank teller, a bricklayer, a mortuary cosmetologist, all kinds of odd jobs to break into acting. And I think I respect that hustle about her, that she worked hard as a single mom to get to where she is today.
Yeah, what a cool journey she's had. Definitely not a straight line to stardom and where she is today, but yeah, her hard work and dedication has got her so much in life.
It really has. And she's got a loyal friend out of me for life. Any idea where the name Whoopi came from? Because it's not her given name. It's not her birth name.
I do not know that.
Well, that's what you're going to find out in this recap. I know. We're going to pick things up with Whoopi talking about how she broke into acting. And then we'll go into some viewer questions, including how she got the name Whoopi. How did this all happen for you? So again, growing up in Manhattan, you moved to San Diego. Did you always know that you wanted to go into acting, and then you moved to San Diego and I was reading, and Wikipedia is not right about everything, but you worked some pretty odd jobs. You were a bank teller, a bricklayer, a mortuary cosmetologist.
Yeah.
You had that's all true?
Yeah.
Okay, Wiki was right. So you worked these odd jobs. Are you trying to break into acting at the time?
Well, yeah, but you got to feed your kid because also had a child. So you have to feed your child, and you have to do it at hours that works with what you're doing, so your hours are a little bit different than normally because you're still trying to act and still be on stage and still go to auditions. So you try to get those hours that you can work. And I was lucky enough to be able to get onto welfare, which I needed at the time because I didn't have, any help. So thank God for welfare. And all I ever wanted to do was get off of it. Because, when you're a welfare recipient, you lose a lot of your God-given rights to privacy. In the old days, they used to give you, $50 a month to feed your kid and do everything. And for that, they kept the right to come investigate you at any point in the day, any day of the week, any hour. And if you got a job that paid you, $25, they deducted it, which I always thought was really a terrible thing to do. Because if you want people to get off the dole, then when they start working, you can't take money away. You got to let them get on their feet and then let them walk away. But that's not how it ran. Yes. But that's not how it, that's not how it was run for a long time. But I was lucky. I got help. I got help through them. And I thought in the early part of it, I thought, this is terrible. Why am I asking for help? And it's like, well, are you going to starve? What are you going to do? If you need help, ask for help and go and get it.
Yeah.
Ego has to be left. Check your ego. When you have kids, you know this, Paula. When you have kids, you have to check your ego. Because it doesn't matter what you really want. What matters is taking care of your kids.
That's right, first and foremost. And I never put two and two together. I mean, I've met Alexandria, your daughter, and she's a lovely human being. And I know you're a grandma too. You dote over that baby,
and
by the way.
a great grandma.
And a great grandmother now. My gosh, you just spoil those kids, I'm sure. But you were doing this as a mom. I don't know if you were a single mom at the time, but you're doing this as a mom. Yeah. That has to be pretty motivating too. Like I gotta feed my kid, but I gotta make this work.
Yeah. Listen, I bought a car for $17 that had no brakes.
Oh my
God. So it was a Volkswagen. I used to stop it with the emergency brake.
Stop it.
Yeah.
So was it a stick shift or was it?
Yeah, it was a stick. It was a stick.
Oh my gosh.
So, you do what you have to do. You got to get around. You got to be able to get to work. You got to be able to make some money. And sometimes you have to say to people, I have no time to bring my kid. Mm-hmm. And most people were like, I got you. I understand.
Yeah. That's amazing though that people rally.
You work. Oh yeah. And I think in most neighborhoods, in most towns, you'll find that if someone says, I need some help.
Yeah.
People will rally around and say, how can I help you? What do you need? What can I do? And and I never forgot that.
That's awesome. How do you think motherhood changed you, Whoopi?
I'm not sure that it did, and I don't think that's a good thing. I think though that it required me to recognize that there is more than just the I.
Mm-hmm.
There's the we. And I liked her so much. She was just really strange and wonderful. And, I really appreciated her and having her because I think it kept me from making a lot of other mistakes.
Yeah.
Going down paths that weren't great because it was always she and I. It's like it was like my mother, my brother, and me. It was Alex and me. Yeah. And so we just went everywhere together and did everything. And and when I was lucky enough to, be able to earn some money, I could buy her 2 pair of shoes, as opposed to one every 2 years. Because, they grow.
They do. They grow fast.
Yeah, they grow fast.
They grow really, really fast. Whoopi, this has been awesome. I want to take some viewer questions if you're okay with that. Okay.
Absolutely.
And had a lot of them. I tried to minimize some of these.
Okay.
Diana wants to know, Whoopi's your stage name, right? How did that all come to be? That's a question from Diana.
Diana, this is a terrible story, but I have to tell you. I was a serial gas passer. And when you work in a lot of the theaters, if they don't have big backstages, you have to, and you're trying to change your clothes as you're moving around. You have to let it rip when it can. I'm lucky because oddly enough, I eat clean enough you don't know who dropped it because it's no odor.
Okay.
But people used to say, you were like a whoopee cushion. And so, and then it stuck. It stuck. So I was whoopee cushioned and I was whoopee couchant. Put that French emphasis on it.
Couchant.
And then my mother said, you're a really good actor. I said, thank you, Mom. She said, but I don't think people are going to take you seriously as Whoopi Cushion. I said, really? Oh, great namer of the stars. What? And she said, well, here's any number of names that come out of the family vault.
Sure.
And I said, okay, well, I'm going to take this one. And daggone if she wasn't right. My mother was right. Because I chose Whoopi Goldberg.
Love it.
That goes there. There are several Goldbergs in the family, and there are all kinds of people. We are Mutts, Mutts. Okay. So it is not unusual for us to pick a name out of a hat and know that it's one of ours. So that's how that came about.
I can't envision anything else than Whoopi Goldberg. I mean, you are Whoopi Goldberg. I thought that was a great question. Jeff wants to know, what was it like filming Ghost and working with Patrick Swayze? God rest his soul, by the way.
It was heaven working with Patrick Swayze. I loved him. He was great fun, really silly, really serious, but really silly, and really wanted to be a stand-up.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was good that he was the actor. He wasn't a good stand-up. But it was heaven. It was heaven. He was a really wonderful man.
And he was magic too. He was magic.
Yeah.
Okay. Richard says, I told you I needed to wear my glasses. Richard says, what do you enjoy more, acting or The View? And you have been the moderator at The View for almost
since time began.
Since 2007, before ranch dressing was invented. Okay, so what do you enjoy more? I know that they're like a nice balance for you. What do you enjoy?
They're a good balance,
most?
but I love my acting because it's the thing that makes me happiest and seems to give me the most benefits for my soul.
That's good. Feed your soul. Yeah. That's great. And this is a similar question. Amanda says, what has been your process for reinventing yourself in different seasons? You've done so many different things, whether it was theater and Broadway to film and TV and, a TV host. Like you've done so many things. You've been an entrepreneur. Like you haven't ever been afraid to go for it. So what's your process for reinventing yourself?
Looking at my bank account.
Let's just be real.
Because people don't realize we're not, The View's not syndicated. So we don't get that syndication that people always think, oh, these guys are set for life. No, we are all working stiffs. We're all working stiffs. And I think to myself, oh, well, I got to take care of all this, but I better do something else so I can take care of this because I want this. So if there's something that I want that I'm like adamant, I will go find a job so I can get it. Yeah. But it's the motivation is making sure I pay as many of my bills as I can and I don't get put out of my house.
And you're also, you have lots of people on the payroll and you're a very loyal and generous person. So there's that too. Okay. Lawrence wants to know, what have you found most rewarding and most difficult in your long career? Where do we begin, right?
Yeah. Most rewarding is that people still talk to me. And hardest is trying to understand things you don't see coming, things that you think are ordinary and normal that you don't see coming and you step in it and you think, okay, I need to figure out how to fix this. Difficult, I think, for most people, more people these days, because you can't just say, I'm sorry now. People question it. They question your sincerity and an apology. And how do you prove that you really mean it? And with the onset of social media, it's almost pointless. Yeah. So that's the hardest thing is trying to navigate this new sheen on the world.
Yeah. That's really good. And I feel like people are also living in offense. They're just waiting to be offended about something. Yeah. And they don't have thick skin. I remember Joy would tell me, Behar on the show, she's like, Paula, you're impossible to offend. And I actually took a lot of pride in that because I want to I don't want to live in offense. I want to be quick to forgive. And I just don't take things that personally. I don't take myself that seriously. I don't take any of it that seriously. And final question for you. Amy wants to know, Whoopi, what brings you genuine joy?
Actually, there are several things that bring me genuine joy. One is doing this with people I care about, my friends, talking to my friends. The second is discovering sort of unique and interesting stuff that I can tell people about. Like I discovered a show, I'm sure I didn't discover it, but I discovered it for me. On Netflix called One Piece that I thought, what is this? And I don't watch television. So it grabbed me and I watched all the episodes and I was better for it. It made me feel better. I had a great time watching it. So that made me happy. And listening to my books, seeing my great grandkid and my grandkids and just being alive. I'm so grateful to be alive. A lot of people didn't make it to my age.
Right.
So I live for that. And those are the things that keep me laughing and thinking and smiling and not drinking, but drinking water.
Got it. You're living that clean life. You are living that clean life.
Clean-ish life.
Look, people have a lot of opinions about The View, but I will say, since I left, everyone there has been so supportive. And even since I left television news in general a couple of years ago, when ABC didn't re-sign me, even, like, you guys, the whole family, from the production staff, producers, to the on-air talent, you guys have been very supportive of me in this next season. You know, one of the questions was about reinventing yourself. And I kind of have been trying to do that too. Every time I've said, hey, do you guys mind if I come talk about my new company, Carrie, or one of the books that I've got, or these projects that are important? Every single time, you guys just cheer me on wildly. And I can't say how much that, like, I cannot express enough how much that means to me. It's hard to find. And I want people to know that that's, yes, things may get a little tense on set, right? But behind closed doors, it's a family. Yeah, families fight, right? Okay, things happen in families, but families have one another's backs, and you guys have had mine. So I just want to say thank you.
You deserve to be heard, Paula. You're writing kids' books. You're doing stuff to make the world better. You deserve to be heard. And so we will always make sure that you have a place at that table to tell us what you're doing and how we can celebrate what it is and help you do it the way you want to.
Stop making me cry, Whoopi. Stop.
Well, you're a really wonderful lady. You just are.
Thank you.
And I love your kids and I love your husband and I hope everybody's well.
They are. My daughter's driving. I know. We have elementary, middle, and high school. So, but I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for you, Whoopi. Thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Paul Faris.
Okay.
Love you.
If you want to watch the full episode, it is on YouTube. If you want to listen to that full episode, it can be found anywhere podcasts are found. And it was from season 1 of the show. And just a lot of respect for Whoopi after everything she's gone through. And I mean, I can't imagine driving a car with no brakes. She had to use the emergency brake.
That was a wild story. I couldn't believe that. She is definitely one of a kind.
She really is. And I'm super grateful for her friendship. As we continue to recap some of our favorite moments, we will be back next week as school is out. That's your line, John.
For parents.
We'll see you next week. I know you guys thought you were done with me, but not quite yet. I have one more thing to tell you about. If you're watching on YouTube or you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, don't forget to subscribe to the show. I don't want you to miss a single beat or a single conversation. And remember, my DMs are always open. Tell me what you want to talk about.